So today's story is about an event that didn't go the way I wanted it to, and I really wish could have been different, and I still don't know how to have made it better. But I want to share the story with you. When last Thursday I was headed up to San Francisco for a morning conference. Now, I live south of San Francisco in a place called San Mateo, and while it's horrible to drive into San Francisco, there's the BART train, which is really, really nice, and there's a BART station near my house. And so I just sort of drive there and take the train in, and it's about a 40-minute ride. And I've done this lots of times at night. And in fact, the BART is fairly empty at night, and I usually get entire seats or rows to myself. Sometimes I have almost the whole train to myself. But in the morning, it's a completely different situation. It's packed with commuters. And so I get there, and when I get on the train, it is already full, and I'm sort of grateful to even find a spot. And I find this spot near the edge, and it's sort of this group of four seats where they're sort of facing each other. And as I sit down, I notice the lady directly in front of me. And she's this sort of 25, 30-ish year old Asian woman, and she's sort of slight build, she has glasses, she's a bit bookish. But the thing I notice at first is her eyes. They are red. I thought maybe I'm mistaking them as like some kind of makeup, but I realized right away that she's actually really sad. She's dressed kind of nice, and she has like a big portfolio folder by her side, so she's either going into work or maybe even a meeting. And she's sitting next to this guy about her same age who I just sort of naturally assumed might be her boyfriend. Maybe they are in a fight or something, but about 10 minutes into this, they haven't even casually looked at each other, and I realize he's just some random dude sitting next to her. And the thing is, I've been in a situation like this, unfortunately, multiple times in my life, where I've been really sad and out in public. One time on a bus going to North Dakota, and I've been fortunate enough to find strangers who would talk to me, and I could work through my problems. And when you're sad and you're in public, you feel more alone because all those other people who you're not connected with just somehow are isolating. And at the same time as feeling alone, you really wish you could be invisible, right? That just no one could see you. But of course, that's not an option. So I don't remember if they've talked to me or if I talked to them first, but there is this comfort in talking about your problems with a stranger. Someone who, it's just safer because you're never going to see them again. And I think, well, maybe I can help her. I'd like to help her, but it's complicated. First of all, every scenario that I start going through in my head doesn't go well. The train is really loud. BART goes through tunnels, and there's this screeching, and even when the train is empty, it can be hard to hear the person next to you. And she's not even next to me. She's directly in front of me. So anything I do is going to be loud or overt. And that draws attention. It forces not only her to pay attention to me, but it's going to force other people around me to pay attention to her. None of this I want. And then add on to that awkwardness, just talking to a random stranger. I think we've all had our stories of that weirdo on the bus. I don't want to be that weirdo. And then there's also the dynamic that I'm a guy and an older guy and a bigger older guy approaching a younger, smaller woman. None of that seems good. But as I'm trying to figure out what, if anything, I can do, how I can, talk to her, help her work through her problems, at the very least let her know she's not alone. She keeps looking at her phone, and every time she looks at her phone, she gets sadder. The redness becomes more pronounced. it starts turning to tears. I can only imagine what's on the other end of that phone. Maybe she's had a loved one die. Maybe she's going through a breakup. Whatever is on the other end of that phone, it has to be a million times worse to have to deal with that and deal with work or a presentation. I play a million things in my head, and I have a lot of time because it's a long ride into the city. Nothing seems like a good idea. And so eventually, my stop arrives. I stand up to leave. At this point, even though she is doing her best to hold it in, there is water actively flowing down her face. And I was just one of everyone else on that train who ignored or pretended to ignore the pain that she was in. And I can't think of what the right thing to have done would have been, but I really wish I had done something. Really wish I could have helped.